Anthropic, among others, is basically fighting the fight that they have rights to basically use all the data and information across the web that's publicly available. Um, and we're still in this conflicted moment, Pat, is do these model companies really have the rights to just steal everything and just take it and use it and make a ton of money off of it and screw all the people that created stuff? I think one of us is going to have to say yes, one of us is going to have to say no. So let's see who says yes. You're the thief. You're the one that says just take it. So you're saying just take whatever you want, steal it. Musicians, writers, authors, bloggers, it's all free. F you.
Yeah. So Dan, um, I told you I would never hold your age and inexperience against you. But I actually worked at one of the original search engines. In fact, we were the top in search over Yahoo at the time, and we've already been here before. This has already been litigated, which was, can you go in and index content, essentially pull that content in and make derivative works on it in the music industry, right? The whole, and you would understand this because you were a guy in Chicago when you were younger, and and you could sample, right? You could sample other artists' content as long as it was a derivative works. We see this on YouTube today, where as long as you are adding value. So, for instance, I do game walkthroughs, Death Stranding 2, and essentially it's in 4K, a complete pirating of the walkthrough, but this guy is talking through it and narrating through the game. So it was of no surprise that the federal judge said, hey, using copyrighted books to train its AI, Claude is transforming the content and qualifies under fair use. So we have the entire internet age, including search, music, and video that back this up. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all where this landed, because it's essentially the same rules as the internet.
I'm glad that you worked at a failed search startup. Um, I worked at Blockbuster, and therefore I am an expert in all things studios, media, and Hollywood. Um, it is a derivative versus using all the content and giving no credit issue, in my opinion. The problem and the reason search worked is the derivative product generally led people back to the origin content. The origin content gave the producers of the videos, movies, music, written content the opportunity to make that content fully available and choose whether or not to monetize that. Now, what's happening is these LLMs are able to extract that all away. They're able to not just derivative, but basically hack and steal entire content. And if you don't believe me, just use a tool like Zero GPT to see how much content is actually just purely stolen when you actually type something up using an AI platform. It's not original. It's not a meaningful. I'm sorry. It is almost the original content. It's not really a derivative. It's not changing things, and therefore, people like musicians, artists, researchers, analysts that do really difficult work get their content basically stolen and used a lot like some of the analyst firms are today when they just hack a market model and share it out with their own logo on the corner of the page. I guess that's okay too. But in the end, my opinion is that basically the fair use is a nonsense trait that's being allowed to go through because we've already opened Pandora's box and we can't go back. We need to be able to allow this because there's trillions of dollars at stake here. And if someone went back and said all the data you're training these models on that have basically built the global economy for the next 2 decades aren't allowed, you can't use the internet, you can't scrape things, and you can't steal everybody's work, we would be erasing a huge secular trend. But in my opinion, it's still a giant FU to the creators, to the people that put in the work, that create unique, differentiated content, and give them basically no chance to monetize their efforts. So, FU Judge, FU Anthropic, you suck. Fair use is All right. All right. My Blockbuster days, buddy.
No, that was good. That was good. By the way, just for the record, um, the strategic mistake that AltaVista made was trying to go after Yahoo and not monetizing search. Although we even had cost per click before Google did when I worked at the AltaVista shopping search along with our president, Mike Rubin. I actually worked for Mike
Who's
here.
now
And
now part of 6 5, right?
about that, I know. No,
Small
it's good
world.
stuff.
Hey,
You know, the one
serious
the one
question.
thing that
Could you guys have bought Google for like 2 million bucks? Was there like a story like that with Google with Alta Vista, like there has been with Blockbuster and Netflix and all these historic companies that could have
I,
bought?
I don't know, but what I do know is we got Elon Musk started. We bought his company called Zip2, which he took all that money and poured into what was called X, which competed with PayPal, and they merged with the PayPal mafia, which gave him enough money to start SpaceX and Tesla. So that was his big cash injection that got him going. Hey, seriously, no. One of the things on this content thing that I'm really going to be monitoring closely is if all of the content creators of the new content go bust or can't monetize it, like the models are going to have nothing to pull in, and I guess it'll kind of be a free for all of bloggers and things like that. And you know, on one side of me says, well, you know, the trust in news sources has plummeted in the last 10 years. So, you know, who cares? The second thing I'm thinking through is, will AI be smart enough to discern what the truth actually is, and not necessarily need all of this content to derive what it thinks is the truth?
I don't know, but these things are going crazy. You know, you hear now that like when they fail, they're like saying they're going to like unplug themselves and commit suicide, and we're definitely training these beasts to be total locos. We'll see how this all ends up.